All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to lesson 3 of our Grounded in Community Art workshop. This one is entitled A Whimsical Wintry Landscape. So I want to show Liam's example. We're pretty much making an abstract tree line and then a snowy ground. And if you see here, there's some texture because we added salt and glue to the artwork. And that is a final step I will walk us through. You do have some decisions to make in making this project. The first rule is that the trees cannot be green. So we're doing something whimsical, which means other colors than green. So to keep it simple, we're choosing two colors. Liam chose blue and purple. I'm actually going to be doing red and pink. And Liam chose a rounded tree line at the top. We actually made a template. I'll be walking through and making a cone-shaped or triangle tree line. So those are also the two options. So after you make those decisions, you can start the project. So go ahead and make those with your communication partner so they know what you'd like to do. All right, now you should know the colors that you're going to be using. I am using acrylic paint here. You could use watercolors. We're going to water down the acrylics. You also will need a dropper because we're going to be adding a little extra water at the end to make sure it interacts with the salt. I am using regular table salt and also pink Himalayan. It is fine. A little bit of coarser salt can give a different appearance. So I do have those two options. And I'm going to be using a medium-sized, thicker paintbrush. You could also use a sponge brush if you wanted to apply your paint. I'm going to do it this way because I might want to use some brush strokes as well. And this brush will also work for my snowy bottom. You do need glue and white paint. That will make our snow-covered ground. Final step. So I'm going to begin with making the template, and then I will tip this while I'm creating my artwork so you can see what I'm actually doing. But first, for the template, you could draw this yourself or helpers. You can do this. I'm going to make just a bunch of triangles. So it looks like the top of trees. I've got my straight edge and a pencil. I'll show you how I'm making this. So not everyone is going to come fully down. We're just getting that top of the tree appearance and all different kind of lengths. Doesn't have to be perfect here. We just want it to look a little bit similar to a forest, or you might have different heights of the trees represented. And I'm going to go pretty tall here and down. And now some smaller ones. So as you see, I just kept moving the straight edge to do this. And Liam just literally made a curved line for the rounded look. But I want to make sure I show the two demonstrations. So now I'm just going to cut my template out. All right, there is my template. I'm using the smaller piece, not the bigger one. It should look like this. And you will tape this to the very top of your paper. And if you want to use a color other than white, that can help too. This is just white. I'm not going to worry about getting paint on the template because I'm removing that. And I'm going to just paint this way to get this tree line painted. So step one, I need my paints. I've got 2 glass containers. I'm going to go ahead and put some red and pink. And I am going to water these down and mix them with 2 different paint brushes. I'm mixing the red here. And you want to just keep stirring until the chunks are smooth and gone. So you're making the texture of a watercolor with acrylic. You could also just use watercolors. Either one is a great option. For the pink, just the same technique, round and round, stirring the water and the paint until those clumps disappear. All right. Now, I found the best way to decorate with 2 colors is to do 1/3 one color, the middle the other color, and the 1/3 the other, and then to bring some of the color to the other part. So if you can kind of imagine your paper in segments of 3s, and also you're not going to go all the way down the paper, you're going to leave some for that snowy ground, so about 1/3 of the way leave at the bottom. And we're just going to go ahead and start bringing some paint down, red on this side. And after I kind of secure the tree line, I'm going to use a stamping motion or a dab technique. Same thing on the other side. Pull the paint down first. This kind of keeps it from going underneath the template too much. And then add some of that dabbing technique. And if it goes underneath, it's okay. It'll still look unique. That one kind of shifted on me. All right, I've got my red. So now my pink is going in the center. Pulling it down the template. And then doing a dab technique. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take some pink and bring it over to the red on each side. And bring the red to the pink. That way we actually mix the colors, but made it very easy while applying. All right, so I'm satisfied with this so far. Before I add my salt technique, I'm going to want to use my dropper and add a little water because it starts to soak in. So I want to make sure I have enough water on before I add salt. So I'm just going to put maybe, let's see, 3 or 4 drops on each segment. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you might see areas that need a little bit and go ahead and add it. We're going to move kind of quickly here. So here's my table salt. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour some of my fine pink Himalayan salt, which works out well since I chose pink and red. I do have a spoon. I want to show both techniques. You can just pick up salt and sprinkle it on with your fingers. I'm kind of rubbing my fingers back and forth. If that is kind of challenging, just put it in a spoon and shake the spoon back and forth to sprinkle. You really can't mess this up. Anything excess will just fall off afterwards. Now for a little bit of the coarser salt. Maybe it's the trees in the background. And you won't see the reaction right away. It takes a little bit of time. So once you get Satisfied with this step, we're going to take a little break and let this dry before we proceed. All right, so it's not completely dry, but it's somewhat dry. That's good enough to continue. I'm going to go ahead and remove the template that I taped down carefully just from one side. And I can see it's not perfect, and that's okay. We get the idea of a tree line. So far I have this. They look kind of like bushy trees, right? Kind of neat that it wasn't perfect. All right, so for the bottom snowy area, which is we're gonna do next, I need 2 paper plates. Actually, sorry, just 1 paper plate with some acrylic white on it. And I'm gonna use the colors that I already have prepped of the pink and the red, one at a time to mix and spread. So we're gonna use the red first, closer to the horizon line, and mix it with a little bit of white paint, which of course will make it a little bit lighter. I'm just gonna take my brush and paint the ground like so. And any little areas that might look white, I can get in. So you're just taking that brush and going across the page at this point. The more you go, the more you'll mix in. So bring a little bit of white if you feel like maybe you've mixed it in too much. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the pink the same way. I still have this white paint right here to back and forth, mix my brush. And I'm gonna finish up the bottom with a little pink and white. So use your darker color closer to the horizon and your lighter color towards the bottom. I'm getting a nice curve here. If this happens, I'm going to show you a little trick. Take a piece of tape and turn it into a ball. Stick it underneath your art. And if I do this, I'm going to have to fix where I touch, but that's okay. Now I at least have it more stationary there. All right, so this should still be a little tacky with these paints. The next step, put the white paints away for now. Grab your Elmer's glue or school glue, and I'm just going to pour some directly onto a plate. We're going to make a layer of glue across this bottom area and then add a little bit more white acrylic. So next step, a brush that doesn't have anything on it, nice and dry. I'm going to take my glue. The idea is that when this dries, it'll give a little bit of a crackling look like snow. So we're going to liberally apply it. Might even need some more. Try to spread it out, but if you need more glue, go for it. Good bit towards the bottom here. And as you put it on, you don't have to spread too much, just a little bit so it's not super thick. Now that I have all that glue on, the final step, you can even use the one, well, actually, we're going to rinse the one that had glue on it. You can use a different brush as well. We're going to add a little bit more white over top the bottom. So white paint, here we go. And just in a few spots, not everywhere. On top of that glue. It might stick a little bit to your brush, go back and forth, that's okay. My white paint has some like goopy things in it because it's getting old. So if you have anything that, just kind of pull it off. And once you feel like you've spread that white paint sufficiently, you can let the bottom area dry. Just kind of feeling into where it might need some of that white. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let this dry a little bit. I did tape it down in case your paper was curling up. You can always do that. We'll let it dry a little bit and then we'll add our tree trunks. All right, so I let this dry for a little bit. I can see some of the crackling of the ground beginning. I'm going to go ahead now and add with acrylic brown the tree trunks. So if you've made a template like I did with the triangles, you can kind of eye it up and the tree trunks would be straight underneath those. Otherwise, if like Liam, you made it rounded, you just kind of put those on random areas. So a lot less rhyme and reason if your forest has a rounded edge. But for our purposes, I'm going to take my paint here with a smaller paintbrush to make thinner trunks and just kind of add little stems here. You can also imagine that there might be some trees other places that aren't represented and give a little bit of the depth perception by adding. You can even add like maybe you're seeing it through the forest, right? Okay. And just add those trunks. They kind of can go into the ground below. A few little extras might help the appearance. If it's not dry like mine, it's gonna kind of scrape it. So just be careful as you're doing that. And then once you're satisfied, let that dry. And it will definitely show more texture with time and be a beautiful, whimsical, wintry landscape. All right, welcome to the demonstration for lesson 3 of Grounded in Community. This is called a whimsical, wintry landscape. So Liam, we're going to have a few questions to design this project, and then we are going to learn how to use some different mediums, including salt and glue to make textured appearances. Okay, so first things first, I have 2 questions. Do you want your trees to be rounded at the top, or do you want them to be like pine trees with the cone or the triangle? So rounded or triangle. And we're going to create a template for it. Okay, let's spell the whole word. O-U-N-D-E, and one more D. All right, rounded is going to be easy. What we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and help your hand make roundedness. So it's going to be like a curve. Okay. So here, Liam, let's put it in front of you. This is a different sheet. So just make it kind of up and over and rounded. And there we go. Great. And then you can cut it out, or you can have your loved one cut it out. Let's start. Liam is working on cutting lines. So put this all in your one hand and hold it there and see if you can kind of cut. And it's okay if it's not perfectly along the line. It's still gonna, if I kind of bend it, it's gonna give it a rounded look. Yeah. And it's looking a little straight, but you know what? So you do the straight part, If your child is successful with the straight, oh, I know that's hard on your hand, then you can just do the rounded part, the little extra that might be needed. So this will give us a nice border where our tree from the top. So Celia, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tape this border down, and then we have the template for our colors. So you want to help me tape? Tape that right here. Follow my hand all the way down, right there. This side is all the way over there. Okay, now the fun part. You get to decide the two colors that you want to use for the trees. Now, because we're making this whimsical, we're not going to use greens, okay? So any two colors other than green, and it's going to be a little bit of a science experiment depending on what you choose. We'll see how they mix together. You may or may not know ahead of time what color that will make, but your job is to choose two different colors of the rainbow, and we will use them for the trees. So, what colors are we going with? A, B, L, U, a blue, and what else? P, U, R, P, L, E. All right, we're going to use blues and purples. I am using acrylic paint here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the, actually, I think these two might be really nice. Let me ask Liam. Liam, of these two blues, do you like the one that is teal or the one that is cerulean blue, more like a regular blue? So you can give me the C for cerulean or a T for teal. Which one do you like? The C, okay. So we will use this blue and this purple. And I've got two glass containers here. What we're going to do is water them down because you could use watercolors for this paint as well. So we're going to squeeze some of in each. Ready? I'm going to let you just do it. Squeeze some paint out. This one's almost empty. So whatever you get out is fine. Yeah, one more good bit. Awesome. And then for the purple, we'll be a little bit more careful. Here, why don't you open that cap? See the little thing? Look, if you look on cap, there's a little ledge, a little lip. You can feel it. Feel it. That's what you do. There you go. Pour a little bit in there. Not too much. Just a good squeeze. One more squeeze. Is it coming out? Just squeeze really hard. Or you can shake it down. Yeah, it's almost there. It's got an air bubble. So you shake it down and then squeeze. That's thicker. This bottle itself is thicker than the tube. So you'll kind of sense what your child's capable of doing based on the thickness of that. So those are the acrylics for now that we need. All right, the next step is we're gonna make sure we have a brush for each of these. We are going to add some water and mix. So you ready? Why don't you use this hand since it's closer to me? Okay. Not too much water, but just a little bit. And then each one has its own brush. I want you to go ahead and mix it up really good. So stir, stir, stir is the next step. You want that clump to kind of disappear, okay? That's a pretty good texture for our paint for the blue, for the purple. Same thing, we're gonna stir this one, Liam. Okay, mix that up really well. And remember the stirring motion. Remember that was a nice dab motion. So circles, here, circle, 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 circle it up, keep circling. Okay, so we're gonna kind of mix these, Liam, as we go. So we might do 1/3 of the paper blue to begin from the one side, then the purple, then the blue, and then mix them together. Okay, sound good? So let me ask Liam, Does 1/3 moving in sound good? Or if you want a different fraction, we could always use a different one. But does one good sound good? Okay. G O O N over 1 dot D. So just want to double check to make sure that the plan works with Liam. Okay, here we go. I'm going to help you. And the dab motion would be perfectly fine. So you're going to start at this end of the page and dab. And remember, there's a template. You can totally dab right there. I'm going to guide your hand. Yep. Dab. Now make sure you're looking at the art too. Here, we're going to dip and bring it over and dab. You can brush it, but this is going to give the tree look, Liam. So let's try. Here, can you look right here and get this part? Okay. So now we're going to switch over to the purple. Okay, now it's purple time. It's going in the center. So let's keep with the dab. You can do a few textures. That was a nice brush stroke. So let's look what we're doing. So we're going here. Okay, let's dab, 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 dab. Okay, let's dip again in the purple. Dip in the purple, and dab right there. And now we're going to go back to the blue and finish it up. Okay, here we go. Right here. Great dabbing motion. And you can go over that paper just fine, just a little bit, because we're going to take it off anyways. That's going to be our sky. Okay, so we need a little bit more blue. Here, Liam. Have the blue and right here. Okay, and down. And now what I recommend is just bringing a little purple over to each of the blues, maybe a little blue over to the purple, okay? So here, this is the accents purple. Put it on here. Few places. Now go all the way over there and put some purple on that blue. Okay. Great. And then for the purple, we're going to add a little bit of accent. So you're just remembering to put all the colors on every part, but we kind of do the base of the 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now, the next step is we are going to add just a little bit of water. So I have a syringe. We want just a little bit of drops of water to really interact with our salt that we have here. Yeah. This will make the texture on our tree. So you ready? So Liam, we're just gonna, well, that's probably a lot. Hold on. Just a little bit. So we're gonna go drop, 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 drop. And this is just to make sure we have enough water on the paper. Okay, the next step is the salt. So I have some coarser salt and some table salt. I didn't have a lot of coarse salt. So we're going to do it on the top, the coarse salt, and then with a spoon, we'll do the table salt. So I'm going to guide your hand, Liam. Okay, we're going to start sprinkling. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All across the, can you hold it with me? All across the top there. Okay, and right over there. All right. And then with the spoon, here, hold this in your hand. You get to scoop out some salt. And then we're going to carefully sprinkle it. And if you get a little extra, it's okay. On the bottom. Okay? Perfect. Okay, dump that one out. Okay, let's scoop a little bit more for the other side. And it takes some time for this to interact with the paint and with the color, but it will look more textured. So we're going to make sure we had a lot of salt here. Woo. Okay. And you really can't have too much salt. So if we have to shake it off a little bit at the end, no biggie. All right. So we have the trees. Now we're going to make a ground. This is kind of fun. This is going to be like a shadowy ground. We are going to use white acrylic and a little bit of the paints. And we're going to, this is going to be the crackled blue look. So first we're going to take some white paint. I know this is my gooey acrylic. I do need to get more. And Liam, we're going to actually go ahead and mix. Here, help me with this. We're going to take both of our brushes and mix it in. just to make, doesn't have to be a fancy mix, just kind of mixing that in. Okay. And now with these brushes of white and some blended, we're going to bring it all the way across the bottom. So it should be taped down. You just bring it all the way across. Yep. Great. And then turn it over to the other side and the next one and spread it all the way across. You don't want to do too much, just one time of spreading. Okay, here we go. All the way across. And here, Liam, start here. Come on, let go. All the way across. Okay, and a little bit down there. And blend. Any extra you might see you want to blend a little bit, but we're going to pull it up to the spots that need it. Here, I'll help you with this part. We want to get this spot right there and right there. And it's okay if you mix it a little bit with it. We're just going to get all that white. There, look at that. Awesome. All the way to the end. And we got some salt in our brush. Okay, so far we have the ground covering and our trees. We have one final step, Liam. We're going to take glue now, and I have a brush I haven't used at all. And we're going to run glue over the bottom and then add some more whites. So I want to make sure I have that ready. So here, let's get these two things ready. We need the Elmer's glue and we need more white. So more white acrylic is ready. And I'm going to actually just open this up and put this on. You can help part with me on a paper plate. I love these small little paper plates. We want to make sure we have enough because this is going to dry and kind of crackle. So while this bottom is still wet, we're going to go ahead and take the glue and run it across. Okay, here we go. We got to move a little quickly at this part. Okay, glue. And we don't want to be skimpy with this. You want to put a good bit of glue on the bottom area. Okay, here, Leo. Here, see the glue? Spread that out. Okay. We may need a little bit more glue. We'll see. But this will give it like a cracked look. Okay. All right, now that we got the glue on, we have to do one layer with a brush that is cleaned off of the white. And this will give the crackle. Okay, so bring the white over. So dip. And we're going to bring it across. The glue. Across. The glue. I hope this works out. It's not on canvas. It is just on a multimedia paper. So we'll see. If not, we'll have some kind of textured look and we'll have learned. Okay, you get that area right there. Okay, and then we're going to let this dry before we add the tree trunks. So we can basically just leave Liam's template on the top there till it dries as well. And we're going to see what happens. Thanks, buddy. It looks awesome. So now that Liam's project is almost dry, you can see some of the texture showing up from the salt. And the bottom didn't turn out quite like I thought, but you can see the different layers that looks like snow. So we're going to add some tree trunks to this and he'll be done. All right, so now that your project is mostly dry, Liam, you get to add some tree trunks to make it actually look like a forest. So the idea with this is we're going to have some kind of coming and extending into your ground and some kind of more in the back. Okay, so let's get some acrylic brown. We don't need very much because we're just making tree trunks. Right? And this is a little thick, but that's okay. I'm just going to kind of brush it up a little bit. I have a very small brush. And I'm going to kind of help you, Liam, make a few. We're going to start at the side. So we're just making the tree right one thing down. Okay. So then we'll go up a little bit and we go right there. Yeah. Maybe a little taller. Okay. Let's make one a little lower. So here, we're going to start in the white and go upward. So we see it like coming into the ground. All right. This is pretty thick. You might even want a thinner brush. I do have a thinner one. Let's see. A little bit of water in that. Thin it out. Sometimes paint doesn't do exactly what you want. So make it a little thinner, and we can even use the back of a brush if a brush is too thick. This will also give the appearance of different sized trees. Okay, ready? We're using the very back of a small brush to make some little trees. All right. One right here, maybe. All right. And then, ooh, it's kind of scraping the color, so we got to be careful with that. We'll fill that in. That's kind of a neat look, though, huh? All right, so let's make some more going on this side. So I'm going to just reach over. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Awesome. So let's put a few of those unique ones over there too. Bring that paint over, maybe right there. Yeah. You just wanted to have a little bit of character, not look like the same thing completely across. Okay, let's put a little bit more character right here.
Oh,
All right. And one more branch thing in the snow. All right. And there is Liam's whimsical wintry landscape. All right, we hope you enjoyed this whimsical wintry landscape. You can see both Liam and I made different colors and shapes. We had a lot of fun adding the textured, which is the salt and the glue,